Hi, I'm Ellen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be attempting to crochet a cardigan. You probably saw the super viral and trendy J.W. Anderson cardigan that Harry Styles wore. It was all over TikTok and everything, and I ended up watching a couple of videos where people were showing kind of their recreation of that sweater, and I decided I would try and do something similar. So not the exact colors and stitch patterns of that sweater, but my own take on it with my own different colors of yarn. So I thought I would document that process and show you guys what it ends up looking like. So I went over to Michael's and I picked up a bunch of different colored yarn, and I watched different videos to figure out the pattern and how to go about making this sweater. The tutorial I followed was Liv Huffman's, and I will have that linked down below as well as in the iCards. But I drew out what her pattern looked like, and she did 102 squares plus ribbing pieces, and she did crochet hers and stitch it all together. The official J.W. Anderson tutorial is a knit tutorial, so I am sticking with crochet because I know how to do that better. And I'm switching up the colors and also making it fit me better, so I decided to go for a cropped look. My current plan is to do only 68 squares, and each square will be 5 inches by 5 inches. I think that Liv did hers 4 inches by 4 inches. So slightly different, but I think that it will work. So I'm gonna have about 6 colors, and each color is going to be a different stitch pattern. So this is also a really great project for people who are wanting to try out some different stitches, but are still kind of in that rectangle, square, crochet level. I don't know. I tend to prefer to do things that can be squares, so there's definitely no shame in that. I am planning to do 6 stitches. I'm going to do the herringbone half double stitch, the uneven berry stitch, the cross stitch, the grit stitch, a single crochet, and the waistcoat stitch. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First off, I did triple my yarn when I was crocheting, so you do a little S shape and create your slip knot with that. And it makes it a lot chunkier, which I kind of love, but also maybe not the most practical for a sweater because it makes it a little less flexible. But when you run out of yarn, you just pull the loose thread through that little loop and it continues going on and on. So yeah, that's what I did for pretty much all of my stitches. So I didn't end up really filming that much of me crocheting because I was struggling figuring out angles and I don't know, a lot of different things. So I have linked a better tutorial for each of the stitches I did in the description down below. Be sure to check them out. Here in the dark blue yarn, I'm doing the herringbone half double stitch, which I really love the look of. My light blue, I did an uneven berry stitch, and I really love the little puff detail, but it was not actually that great in the end of the sweater because it was kind of like doubly as thick as the rest of them, which looked a little bit weird. So I would maybe switch that out if you're doing a similar project. In my cream yarn, I was doing a cross stitch, which honestly looked pretty much exactly like a single crochet, but it's fine. And then in the brown yarn, I did the grit stitch. That one turned out pretty nicely. In the green yarn, I was doing a single crochet. For the gold yarn, I was planning to do a waistcoat stitch, but I was having a hard time with it, so I switched to doing a half double crochet. I also ended up using some gray yarn, which I hadn't planned to, but I did a jasmine stitch with that, and it turned out to be my favorite part of the sweater. In the end, I had 45 5-inch squares and differing amounts for each color and stitch depending on how much yarn the stitch took and how much was in each skein of yarn. I finished crocheting all of my squares, so now I'm going to lay them out in a pattern of how I want to attach all of them. After laying out my squares, I connected all of them using a single crochet. I did want the single crochet to show in my piece, so I had the two wrong sides facing each other with the right sides facing out. I ended up liking it better the other way though, so you know, up to you. Okay, so ignore any mess you see in the background and the wonky mirror, but here is the current sweater progress. I have combined all the pieces and now I'm putting the sections together. It's a nice length, I think, for me. I'm probably still going to add the ribbing, which will give it a little bit more. It's kind of a weird look right now, but honestly, with this being my first sweater, I'm going to be excited if it turns out at all. So now I have to add the sleeves and then it's just about done. So she's assembled. I don't know exactly how I feel about it. The sleeves are too long, but I'm feeling too lazy to undo any of the stitching required to fix that, so I've just rolled them up halfway. And I do kind of like that that gives it kind of a bell sleeve look. If I wear it like the way it, I don't know, it bulges out in the back. So what I'm considering doing instead of having it be a cardigan is to take out this green square and stitch this gold one in instead so that it's just like fully a sweater. And then I feel like it's kind of a fun neckline and has a cool cropped look. Like I would obviously need to wear a shirt under it because, you know, we don't need to be flashing people, but that also makes it sit a little nicer on the back for me. So I think that is what I'm going to do. I am thinking about wearing it the other way instead of having this stitching showing because, I don't know, not fully vibing with that. So I might have it the other way where you still see some of the pink, but it's not quite as pronounced. Here it is. Okay, so I took out that green square and crocheted this in, and I think it looks nice. I'm happy. Let me know what you think of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!